Well, my name is Bilaji Venkatesan, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have been involved with Clever Investor for almost 4 months now. I started the middle of February, and I saw this ad on Facebook. And then I had been thinking about real estate investing for about 6 weeks at that point in time. And this came in at the right time. And I saw a lot of testimonials and people holding their paycheck or the checks for their deals they closed. So I was really intrigued. So I got in, and within 2 weeks of joining the program, I kind of felt like I needed to go all in on this, and I signed up for the mentoring program. The mentoring program has been phenomenal. My mentor is Elisa Law, and I was really hesitant how the mentoring program is going to work because I'm used to doing things a certain way. I have a really successful career before this, so I'm kind of used to my ways, so I don't know how I could be molded with a mentor. But she was phenomenal. Right after the first call, I think she kind of understood my personality and how I could be mentored. And then every 2 weeks when we have those calls, she holds me accountable, and also she sees where I'm struggling, and then she kind of pushes me in the right direction. And then when I'm going there, she's like, okay, when you're doing this, here are things that you can pick on the way while you're going in this path. So that's kind of what I wanted out of a mentoring program, because I don't really want anybody to spoon feed me or hold my hands, but I want somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, here's a path you need to go because this is the wrong path to go. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's helping me structuring my business, helping me learn all about networking. So my experience so far has been phenomenal. When I started going through the fast track, I was just overwhelmed by the amount of content just in the fast track alone. And then after I signed up for the mentoring program, you have these pro walls and you have all these recordings of the webinars that we have, the weekly Q&A sessions and all that. The information is I've never seen, I've not taken any real estate training before, but I've done other training in my career. I've never seen this much of information organized in the way that it has been in one place. So I think that's phenomenal. Yeah, so just about the labs in general, right? When we started the labs, the Clever Labs yesterday, I was out in the lobby and then I heard this loud music. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're starting. And so I'm walking in here and there's everybody just lying in there on the door, high-fiving each other. And my adrenaline just rushed and my energy level just went up. I'm thinking like, wow, this is like so, I feel like a rock star because these guys are there rooting for my success. I don't know if that many programs where people actually genuinely do that, right? I've gone to seminars where you walk in and then you go and sit in this thing and then somebody comes and talks, whatever, they have their own skills, whatever. But that is what I'm talking about when I talk about community, because every one of them, I know when I walked in there, they were rooting for my success, right? They wanted me to be successful because that makes the community better. I would become successful and give back to the community and all that stuff. But in general, just talking to all these other people, I was just having a conversation with one of the student leaders, and I said, hey, I don't have that many solid leads in the last couple of days. I still want to do a deal. He's like, okay, we'll see if we can work my deal and we can basically partner with that. How many people do that kind of stuff? How many people willingly say, well, I have a solid lead, I'm willing to share that with you? And that, I think, is the power of the community, right? Because everybody believes in each other. And this gentleman, who's sharing this, I'm sure he knows at some point in time, I might be of value to him. And that's the power of community, picking each other up. And I've not, I volunteer for different organizations, and there's some organizations that do that at the volunteer level, you have the community. But from a professional level where you're competing against some of them if you're in the same area, and for them to actually back each other up and pick each other up, that's what I mean by community. And I think, on the phone calls with my mentor, Lisa, she's always rooting. She's always, not only is she holding you accountable, but she gives out this nurturing energy. She's like, okay, so that didn't work out. That's fine. We can try, these other things. So, I think that's what I expect out of a community is when you're down, things are not going right. Somebody's out there saying, hey, don't worry, we've got this, we're in this together. And I think that's what I'm seeing with the labs and, with my student leaders, Pete and Jessica. I was just having a conversation with Pete. He's like, yeah, just work on it, bro. It'll come. It's a numbers game. It's gonna happen. So I don't know of any other place where you have that kind of community where people who are in the same business, potentially competing, are actually lifting each other up. So I think that's great. For 6 weeks this year, when I thought about real estate investing, I'm like, okay, I should do it, not do it. What should I do? So the biggest advice I would say is if you're on the fence, just do it. Look at this, and I always have this thing I tell people, is whatever you make now, you should be ready to invest at least 10% of that on yourself, on bettering yourself in whether it's starting a business or just training yourself, acquiring new skill sets, whatever it is. And I think a lot of the times, people, they go in a job and then they just stop caring about themselves because now they have a job, they have money coming in. But if there's one thing where, that 10% rule, or, if you save some money, the one thing I would say is an investment. It's really an investment, right? Because you're investing, you're betting on yourself. When you invest that money, you're basically saying, I'm putting this money because I believe I can do it. And I think that's what people, who are on the fence should think about is you can do it because you're betting on yourself. If you don't bet on yourself, who else are you going to bet on, right? And if you think you're capable of doing this, which everybody is, because the process is real, the process works, then I would say just get in there, don't procrastinate, just do it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. It's going to hurt for a second when you rip it off, but then it's going to be okay after that, right? So just do it. No matter where you are in the journey, I think everybody recognizes that, and that's the beauty of that. I'm sure there are people out there that are millionaires, they make a lot of money, but they don't look at you and go, well, yeah, what are you going to offer me? They're still there, they're holding your hands, and they're kind of walking through that. So I think that is really beautiful.